responsiveness and resilience, maxim of utilitarianism, and maxim of compassion. Okay, all this comes under maxims of ethics, maxims of national interest, maxims of justice, maxims of transparency, maxims of integrity. Okay, all this comes under maxims. Next, public service values. What are the values? How should one be like? Important values means honesty and integrity, impartiality, respect for the law, respect for the persons, and diligence, economy and effectiveness, responsiveness, accountability. All this comes under the public service values. Okay. What are the values means honesty, integrity, impartiality, respect towards law, respect for the persons, diligence, economy and effectiveness, respectiveness and accountability. All these forms under public service values. Okay. Uh, next important one, next important chapter, and last chapter, that is public enterprises in India. Okay, public enterprises in India. Like in this chapter, we will learn about the meaning and importance of the public enterprises, features of public enterprises, difference between the public and private enterprises, and different forms of the public, different forms of the public enterprise, that is departmental undertaking, statutory corporation, government company, and what are the workings of public enterprises and what are the problems of enterprises. Okay, coming to the public enterprises in India. Okay, after teaching what we will, the outcome, what are the objectives of this unit means to identify the constituents of public enterprises, to describe the importance of public enterprises in Indian economy, to distinguish between the public and private enterprises, like to describe the differential organizational forms of the public enterprises, and to outline the current scenario of public enterprises in India. Okay. Next, see, like traditionally, like the business activities were left mainly to individual or private organizations, and the government was taking care of only essential services such as policing, mining, minting of coins, and printing of currencies, defenses. Okay. Later on, the British colonial government added railways and electrical support and postal services, etc. And even after independence also, when the government took the agenda of the welfare state, like it is found that private sector was not taking interest in the area of production and service. Why? Because there is a gestation, very long gestation period, investment was heavy and profit margin was low. Okay. The private industries were concentrated only in some areas that had like natural advantages. Like natural advantages means availability of raw materials, skill labor, like near to markets. Okay, all this have seen into consideration, and those private organizations are established. So the government decided to transform from the autocratic colonial rule to democratic and welfare oriented one. We all know that all those are some of the things. Okay, there are for this we will have some mini ratnas, maharatnas. All these we will have. Okay, like why public enterprises have a crucial role. They play a very crucial role in Indian economy, offering some of like range of products and services. What are those means? Like manufacturing of steel, heavy machinery, manufacturing of machine tools, instruments, heavy machine building equipment, heavy electrical equipment for thunder and hydel stations, transportation equipment, telecommunication equipment, ships and submarines, fertilizers, drugs and pharmaceuticals, petrochemicals, cement and textiles. All in this manufacturing, you will use this public enterprises, and some other parts also like mining of coals and minerals, extraction and refining of crude oil, like in operation of air, sea, river, and road transport, national and international trade, consultancy. Even consultancy also we will come after it. Next, inland and overseas telecommunication services, consumer items such as newspaper printer, newsprint, paper, and contraceptives, and hotel and tourism services. All this comes under some of the services provided by the public enterprises. Okay. Next, coming to what are the meaning and importance of public enterprises. Okay. The business units owned, managed, and controlled by the central or state or local governments are termed as public enterprises. Okay. Next, they are also called as public sector enterprises or public undertakings also. Okay. Like a public enterprise can be also defined as like any commercial or industrial undertaking owned and managed by the government with a view of maximize social welfare and uphold the public interest. Like the public enterprises, like of nationalized private sectors, some of them are like banks, life insurance corporations of India, like HMT, that is Hindustan Machine Tools, GAIL, Gas Authority of India, and state trading corporations. All this comes under some of the enterprises. Okay. See, the public sector attracted the best talent in India. Like it not only provide jobs to the people in different areas, but it variably employed it all displacement of people as well. Okay. The public sector like has a large extent succeeded in the meetings of the objectives and laying a strong foundation for the industrial development of the country. Also, like huge investments were made in the sectors which do not promise adequate return on the capital investment. Like in the post 1991, like with the decline of revenues and budgetary gaps, the government withdraw the budgetary support and increase the pressure on them to produce profits and thus dividends. For this, the PSEs are criticized for not producing the adequate profits. Like this was partly the result of global movement to private industry. Coming to what are the features? Features of public enterprises. The basic characteristics of public enterprises means like ownership, management, and control by government of India, welfare motive, financed from government funds, public utility services, bound by rules and regulations, and public accountability. Coming to first point, that is ownership, management, and control by the government. Here, the public enterprises are owned, managed, and controlled by the central government or state government or local authority. Here, the government may either wholly owned by the private enterprises or partly with the private industries and the public. Okay. For example, NTPC, National Thermal Power Corporation, is established by the central government, and it has also the share capital provided by the public. So as same in the case in ONGC, that is Oil and Natural Gas Corporation. Next, welfare motive. Like public enterprises are not guided by profit motive. Public enterprises main motive is welfare motive, whereas private enterprises are profit motive. Like what are the main focus is the main focus of the public enterprises is to provide service or commodity at reasonable prices. Like what are those ones? GAIL, that is Gas Authority of India Limited or Indian Oil Corporation. They help people to provide petroleum and gas at subsidized prices. Next, financed from government funds. These public enterprises get their capital, how that capital wholly or partly from the government funds. Public utility services means the public sector enterprises concentrate mainly on providing public utility services like transport, electricity, water, telecommunications. All this comes under public utility services. They are also bounded by rules and regulations, and they will be held accountability. Okay. Next, coming to what are the differences between the public enterprises and the private enterprises. Okay. The prime objective of public enterprises is public welfare and balanced economic development. Whereas the main objective of private enterprises is, we all know that is profit maximization. Coming to ownership. Ownership of public enterprises is government, that is central, state, or local. But whereas the ownership of private enterprises is private individuals or business houses. Management, like how public and private are management means public enterprises are managed by the government and the civil servants, whereas the private enterprises are managed by the owners and the professional managers. How the capital is raised here, the public enterprises capital is raised from the government funds, whereas the in private enterprise the capital is raised from the owners through loans or private sources. And the area of operations, like the area of operation in public enterprises is basic and public utility sectors, but as whereas in private sector the areas of operation is like in all areas where they gain profit. Okay, coming to what are the forms different forms of public enterprises. Okay, there are different kinds of public enterprises in terms of their ownership. Okay, like departmental undertaking, statutory corporation or public corporation, and government company. What are those departmental undertaking means? Department undertaking is the oldest among the public enterprises. Okay, this form of organization primarily used for the provision of essential services. What are those essential services means? Railways, postal services, broadcasting, etc. Okay, all this, it is organized, financed, and controlled in the same way of the governmental department. Okay, next, this firm is considered suitable for activities where the government desires to have direct control over them in the view of public interest. Okay, Indian Railways, Post Office, ordnance factories are the some of the examples of these forms of organization. What are the features means? The main features of departmental undertakings are like it is the part of the government and is managed like by any government department. It is established by the government. It is established by the government, and overall control rests with the minister. It is financed through governmental funds. It is subject to budgetary, accounting, and auditing control of the government. Its policies is laid down by the government, and it is accountable to the legislature. Okay, it is some of the features of departmental undertakings. What are the merits of this departmental undertaking means? Like its main merit means fulfillment of social objectives and responsible to the legislature. It is responsible to the legislature. It control over economic activities. It is contribution to the. It has great contribution to the government revenue. It will check on misuse of funds. All this comes under the departmental undertakings. There are also some limitations. What are those limitations means? Like melodies of bureaucracy. Bureaucracy has a negative impact on this departmental undertakings. Next, excessive parliamentary control. We can see the parliamentary control on day-to-day administration, like lack of professional experts and inefficient functioning, lack of flexibility. All this comes under the limitations. These are the limitations regarding the departmental undertakings. Next, coming to statutory corporation. Here, the statutory corporation like refers to organizations which are incorporated under special act of the parliament or state legislature. Okay, they are like incorporated through special act. A statutory corporation is also known as public corporation. Okay, its management pattern, powers, and functions area of the activities, rules and regulations for the employees, and relationship with all the governmental expenditure. All these are mentioned in the act concerned. Okay, if any act is made in that, this all functions should be mentioned. Like example, for example, State Bank of India, Life Insurance Corporations of India, I Indian Finance Corporation of India, Union Trust of India, and State Trading Corporation. All these we will have. All these are statutory corporations. They are managed by board of directors. These board of directors are nominated by the government. Okay. What are the features? Features of the statutory features of the statutory corporations means it is incorporated under the special act of parliament or state legislature. It is autonomous body and is free from the government control. It has separate legal existence. Its capital is wholly provided by the government. It is managed by board of directors. It is supposed to be self-sufficient in financial matters. The employees of these enterprises recruited by their own requirement are decided by the board. Okay. Next, what are the merits? Like coming to some important merit means like expert management. Their experts will be managed. There is an internal autonomy. They are responsible to the parliament. There is flexibility with respect to the statutory corporation. They promote national interests. Okay, they even raise funds very easily. Okay. What are the limitations? What are the limitations means? Limitations regarding to statutory commission means government interference, rigidity, and ignoring commercial approach. All this comes under the limitations of statutory approach. Coming to government company. Okay. What is government company means? A company in which 51% or what we call more than 51% capital is held by the central or state government, then it is called as government company. These government companies are registered under Companies Act in 1956, and they will follow the rules and regulations applicable to the other registered companies. Okay, like this capital is wholly or partially provided by the government. Like same, these companies are also managed by the board of directors who has professionals and independent personals. Mm, even the government of India has organized and registered a number of undertakings, like and even government companies like Hindustan Machine Tools Limited, Steel Authority of India Limited, Hindustan Shipyard Limited. All this comes under this type of enterprises. What are the features? Features of the government companies. Like it is registered under the Companies Act of 1956. It has separate legal entity. Okay. The annual reports of the government companies are required to be presented in the parliament. The capital is wholly or partially provided by the government of India. It is managed by board of directors. It is its accounting and audit practices are more like of those private enterprises. Its employees are not civil servants. Just remember, its employees are not civil servants. What are the merits? Coming to some of the merits of the governmental company. Like merits means it is easy for establishment, workings on the business lines, like efficiency in management and healthy competition. It will provide healthy competitions to private sector. What are the limitations means? The limitations are lack of initiatives, like lack of business experience, and policy and management changes. All this comes under disadvantages. Okay, means how the working of public enterprises are taking place. Okay, like some of the public sector enterprises like the railways, telegraphs, port trusts, and government salt factories have play important role, very important role. Like at the commencement of first 5 year plan also, like in 1951, 29 crores in the 5 central public sector enterprises have been invested. But in 2015, it came to 298 central public service enterprises. See how it has changed from 29 crores, from five public sector enterprises to 298 central public service enterprises, from 29 crores to 12 lakhs 63,665 crores. This much increase we can see in public sector enterprises. Through this we can tell that there is a huge what we call demand or performance of the public enterprises. See, even when Government of India announced its industrial policy to improve the performance and portfolios of public enterprises, the new economy policies stressed on liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Here, the role of private sector and public sector was redefined. In July, like in 1997, Government of India identified 9 central public service enterprises as Navaratnas. Okay. What are those names? Means BHEL, BPCL, GAIL, HPCL, IOC, MTNL, NTPC, ONGC, and SAIL. Okay. These public enterprises have been given autonomy for capital investment to enter into joint ventures and raise capital from domestic and international market. Like in October 1977, when the mini ratnas are there, okay, the mini ratna will be many greater than 50. All this comes under the working of the public enterprises. Next, problems. What are the problems related to public enterprises? Like some of the problems like endowment constraints. Like some of the public enterprises, particularly the loss incurring enterprises, are suffering from endowment constraints. Wrong selection of sites. That is a wrong selection of sites and political consideration rather than rational and business considerations. Okay. Next, underutilized capacity. Underutilization means like production capacities are underutilized here. Absence of rational pricing. Like rational pricing means profit as a basis of price fixation. No profit basis of public utility approach. Import parity price. All this comes into consideration, but they are not taking this rational pricing. Okay, next, technological gap. What are the technological gaps? Like the public sector enterprise suffering from technological gap. Like private sector going through the latest technological development, but the public sector enterprise are still with age-old rules and regulations. Like government interference, there is a lot of government interference in public sector enterprises with respect to employment, pricing, and purchase. These are some problems relating to like problems of public enterprise. Some other problems are heavy social costs, operational managerial inadequacy, unhealthy competition and sabotage, like marketing constraints, surplus manpower, and external factors. What are the external factors? Means workers engaged in public sector enterprises are reportedly lacking devotion for their job, leading to wastage of working hours, affecting the productive capacities of these enterprises. Okay, these are some points relating to the working of enterprises and problems of enterprises. Yeah, through this we had completed our syllabus. Okay. And thank you.